I don't like talking about middle school. Everyone has a story about being bullied, or a teacher who hated them, or some humiliating moment they never lived down. Mine's worse, because no one ever believed me. It was the fall of 7th grade, and our homeroom teacher, Mrs. Jensen, went on maternity leave. The substitute showed up the following Monday. His name was Mr. Rayner. At first, he seemed normal, younger than most teachers, maybe mid-30s, tall and thin with a sharp jaw. He wore suits that didn't quite fit and always smelled faintly of antiseptic, like a hospital. The first day, he smiled too much. He told us we were his kids now, which even then felt off. But the weird part started on the second day. He didn't like the fluorescent lights, said they gave him headaches, so he made us close the blinds and keep the room dim, just the light from a desk lamp at the front. "We concentrate better this way," he explained. We all squinted at our worksheets in the gloom, whispering to each other when his back was turned. By the third day, he started collecting our phones in a box at the start of class. "Less distraction," he said. None of the other teachers did that. At first, I thought maybe I was paranoid. He never outright did anything. He just made us uncomfortable. Too many compliments on the girl's hair. Too much touching the boys' shoulders, holding them in place when he leaned down to help. One day he stood behind me while I was working on a math problem. His hand rested lightly on my back. Not moving, not pressing, just there. It stayed for minutes. My pencil shook so badly I couldn't write. Finally he whispered, "You don't need to be nervous." I'm not like the others. I didn't even know what that meant. I told my mom that night. She frowned, but said maybe I misunderstood. Some teachers are just affectionate. When I insisted it felt wrong, she said, "If he does something inappropriate, tell the principal. Otherwise, try not to overthink." I didn't sleep that night. The worst day came 2 weeks in. He told us we'd be having a special assignment. Instead of sitting at our desks, he made us line up against the back wall. One by one, he had us step forward to the lamp at the front of the class. "Stand in the light," he said. Then he stared at us, silent, for long stretches, like he was memorizing every detail. When it was my turn, my skin crawled under his gaze. "Good," he finally said. "You'll remember this." He marked something on a sheet of paper, then sent me back. The next day, one of the girls in our class, Elena, didn't show up. No one said why. The teachers just announced she'd transferred. But her desk was still full of stuff. Her notebook, her pencil case, her hoodie draped over the chair. Kids don't transfer overnight without taking their things. When I asked about it, Mr. Rayner just smiled. "Some people aren't cut out for this environment," he said. And then he erased her name from the board. I started keeping notes, small details in the margins of my binder. The way he locked the classroom door during lessons. How no one ever saw him eat lunch in the staff room. How the janitor muttered under his breath whenever he passed our door. I thought if I gathered enough proof, the principal would believe me. But when I finally went to the office, clutching my binder, the secretary frowned. "There's no Mr. Rayner on staff here," she said. I stared at her. "He's our substitute." 7th grade, room 207. She shook her head. "Room 207 is under renovation. It's been closed all semester." My stomach dropped. I tried to explain, but she just gave me that pitying look adults give when they think you're being dramatic. "Sweetheart," she said gently, "are you sure you're not confusing classrooms?" When I went back, 207 was there. Same desks, same blinds pulled tight, same lamp glowing at the front. And Mr. Rayner, smiling like he knew exactly what I'd just done. The next morning, 2 desks were empty, not just Elena's. Marcus, the kid who sat by the window, was gone too. "Transferred," Rayner said when someone asked. But Marcus's backpack was still under his desk. By the end of the month, 5 kids had transferred. Always overnight. Always without warning. And no one, not the school, not their families, ever seemed to question it. I stopped going after that. My mom thought I was faking sick, but I refused to step foot in that building. We moved cities the next summer. I started fresh at a new school. Every once in a while, I'd search online for the kids who vanished. Elena, Marcus, the others, nothing. No social media updates, no yearbook photos past 7th grade. It's like they never existed. I'm 26 now. I work at an office, live in a small apartment, and try not to think about middle school. But last week I got an email. No subject line, no sender name. Inside was a single attachment, a photograph of me, 12 years old, standing under a dim lamp in a classroom, eyes wide, face pale, and scrawled in handwriting I'll never forget, across the bottom of the photo. Good. You'll remember this. I can't walk down a row of school lockers without feeling sick. The metallic slam of doors, the clatter of combination locks, it all makes my skin crawl. Because I know what it's like when a locker won't stay shut. I was 15, a sophomore. My locker was at the far end of the science wing, next to the exit door that nobody used. It was isolated, quiet, which I didn't mind until it started happening. The first time I thought it was just a mistake. I closed my locker, spun the dial, tugged to check it was locked. Later that day, I walked past and saw it hanging open. Books scattered, backpack half unzipped. I figured maybe I hadn't shut it right, but it kept happening. Every day, sometimes twice a day. No matter how carefully I locked it, I'd come back to find it wide open. I told the janitor, but he just shrugged. These locks get sticky. Don't overthink it. I told my friends, but they laughed. Maybe you've got a secret admirer, one of them teased. Stealing notes from your notebook. But nothing was ever missing. Nothing was ever added. It was just disturbed. Like someone went through my things and wanted me to know. One afternoon, I stayed late for chemistry lab. By the time I finished, the halls were empty. As I passed my locker, I saw it again. Door hanging open. But this time, something was different. On the top shelf, laid neatly across my binder, was a Polaroid photograph. Of me. Sitting at my desk in class that morning. I dropped it, heart racing. Who had taken it? Phones were one thing, but a Polaroid? I grabbed my things and bolted. That night, I barely slept. The next day, there was another photo. Me in the cafeteria line. Taken from behind, my face reflected faintly in the sneeze guard glass. The day after that, one of me at the drinking fountain. Always from strange angles, always when I wasn't looking. I started skipping classes, hiding in the library, but somehow the photos kept coming. Finally, I told the vice principal. She pursed her lips, clearly annoyed. Probably a prank, she said. Do you know who might be doing this? I shook my head. Well, without evidence. She spread her hands helplessly. Try not to leave valuables in your locker. That was it. The photos escalated. One of me walking home, one of me asleep at my desk during study hall, and then, the worst, a photo of me in bed, sleeping, at home. I don't remember screaming, but my mom came running. When I showed her, she went pale. We called the police. They took the photos, asked questions, promised to investigate, but nothing happened. I begged my mom to let me transfer schools. She said no, too much hassle. They'll find whoever's doing it, she insisted. But I stopped using my locker, stopped walking alone, stopped sleeping at night. I was unraveling. Then, one morning, I got to school early. The halls were empty, silent. And from around the corner, I heard it. The slam of my locker door. Slow, deliberate. I froze. Then I crept forward, heart in my throat. The locker was open, and standing in front of it, not a student, not a teacher, the janitor. He turned when he heard me, and for the first time I noticed the camera hanging from his neck, the kind that spits out Polaroids. He smiled. Locker's been sticky, hasn't it? I ran. They fired him quietly, told the papers it was misconduct. No charges, no explanation, and no one ever gave me back the rest of the photos. I'm 27 now. I lock my apartment door 3 times before bed. I tape over every window. And last week, when I came home from work, my front door was hanging open. On my table, a single Polaroid. Me, unlocking my door that morning. High school yearbooks are supposed to be fun. Everyone signs their names, writes dumb jokes, leaves little, never change messages you cringe at years later. Mine wasn't like that. Because there was a girl in my yearbook who didn't exist. It started sophomore year. We'd just gotten our books, hot off the press. Everyone was flipping through, laughing at the worst photos, trading signatures. I was scanning the sophomore section when I froze. Her photo. I knew every face in my grade. We'd all grown up together. But this girl, this pale, dark-haired girl with wide eyes, wasn't one of us. The caption read, Rebecca Shaw. I had never seen her before in my life. I asked my friends, pointing her out. Who's that? They looked at me like I was joking. Rebecca? Duh. She's in math with us. No, she's not. They rolled their eyes. You seriously don't remember her? But I didn't, and the more I asked, the stranger it felt. Everyone claimed to know her, teachers too. Rebecca's a sweet girl, Mrs. Martin said. Quiet, keeps to herself. But I checked the attendance sheets. No Rebecca. I checked the yearbook index. Her name wasn't there, just the photo. Weeks passed. I kept looking for her. In the halls, the cafeteria, assemblies. Never saw her once. But sometimes, I felt like she saw me. Walking home, I'd glance back and catch a flicker of movement. A girl's silhouette in a window, too far to recognize. In class, I'd feel eyes burning into the back of my neck, but when I turned, nobody was looking. Junior year, we got our new yearbooks. I flipped straight to the junior section. There she was again, same picture, same expression. Same pale face, wide eyes staring straight into the camera. Only this time, the caption read, In loving memory of Rebecca Shaw, 2002 to 2019. I stared at it until my vision blurred. The photo hadn't changed. She was wearing the same shirt, the same necklace. But the words made it worse. In loving memory, like she'd died. Nobody else seemed bothered. Oh yeah, people said casually. She died last year. But she was in our sophomore yearbook. Yeah, sad, right? Their voices were flat, rehearsed. I asked how she died. No one gave the same answer. Car crash, illness, suicide. It was like they were guessing, like they hadn't actually known. That night, I dug my sophomore yearbook out again. Her photo was gone. The space where it had been was just white, like the page had been reprinted. I thought I was losing my mind. Senior year, I didn't want a yearbook. I begged my mom not to buy one. She said I'd regret it. When it came, I shoved it under my bed, too afraid to open it. But curiosity eats at you. One night, I cracked it open. I flipped straight to the senior section. Her photo, the same one again, but this time the caption read, Never Forget, Class of 2021. And her name wasn't Rebecca anymore. It was mine. I dropped the book. My hands shook so hard I couldn't breathe. It was my face, not hers. My pale skin, my necklace, my wide, terrified eyes, and I knew deep down the picture wasn't posed. It was a photo of me looking at the yearbook. Right then, I never told anyone. I never went to graduation. I burned my yearbook in the backyard, watched the pages curl and blacken until I, was nothing but ash. But even now, years later, I can't look at a school photo without flinching. Because sometimes in the background, I swear I see her. Standing there, waiting for me to take her place again,